Hello everyone, I'm Paul McGuire Grimes. The first big film to test movie audiences as to whether or not they will head back into the movie theaters is Tenet, the latest from writer-director Christopher Nolan. I want to talk about it. This is Paul's trip to the movies. John David Washington is at the center of this story and is referred to as the protagonist. He's pulled out of a medically induced coma after a failed mission, only to then have to continue on with his mission. It's one that's hard for him to understand and conceive, as it involves the inversion of time. Simply put, he's trying to prevent World War III, which would be worse than a nuclear holocaust. The man he's trying to stop is a Russian oligarch played by Kenneth Branagh. Helping the protagonist is Neil, played by Robert Pattinson, and Elizabeth Debicki as the oligarch's estranged wife. Now, given the nature of this film, I want to preface that I did see it in an IMAX movie theater under extremely safe conditions with a minimal number of local critics with me at this screening. This is going to be a very different experience and scenario than you would typically find at the theater, with audiences picking their own seats and hopefully wearing masks. Now, this was the first time stepping back into a theater since March 10th, and it was a thrill to see Christopher Nolan's latest in the format and medium that he intended it to be. He makes movies for that epic movie-going experience, and that is on full display here with Tenet, as he and cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema have topped themselves with the use of IMAX cameras for the majority of the film. He uses then for the 65mm for the smaller, more dialogue-heavy scenes. It's a massive film with nothing small or subtle about it outside of a little humor here or there. The international settings, the chase sequences, the explosions are all given that immersive, realistic tension on the IMAX scale. Now, if you didn't figure it out already, Tenet is 100% pure Christopher Nolan. This isn't the first time that he's playing with physics and time. He's challenged us before with movies like Inception and Interstellar. At one point, the protagonist is told, "Don't try to understand it, feel it." And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I can give viewers. You can feel that pulsating opening sequence at the National Opera House, and Nolan knows how to catapult his audience into his films, much like we saw with The Dark Knight. This theory of the inversion of time is explained over and over as the protagonist and Neil desperately try to figure out what's going on in this kind of race against time. We, the audience, are on the same journey as they are, which makes it exciting yet frustrating if you're trying to understand it. This film is constantly in motion, so maybe Nolan is reminding us to just be present and figure out what's going on a little bit later. Now, this will either be your biggest struggle with the movie, or it won't bother you. Nolan throws a lot out at the audience, asking us what we would do if we could see the results of the future and then try to prevent it from happening. How often can we trust our heart and instinct over what's right in front of us? Now, this all comes within the form of a classic spy thriller with the ultra-rich billionaire whose wealth and technology can only be used for harm. We've got the intelligent femme fatale, the charming sidekick, and of course our hero. John David Washington is a force as the protagonist. He blew me away with BlacKkKlansman in 2018, and he gives another rich performance full of vulnerability, strength, and power. He pairs really well with Robert Pattinson, who is full of mystery here. I never knew quite what to expect with his character, which then adds more layers to the story. He is nuanced in every way. Nolan tends to use a company of actors in each of his films, and I'm hoping that we get to see Washington and Pattinson together again. His company also includes Kenneth Branagh and Michael Caine, who are both present here. In a way, Nolan defies logic and traditional storytelling with Tenet. Don't try to make sense of it. Don't get derailed by the fact that it's not scientifically possible. This is a movie, after all. Let Nolan stretch your concept of time. Just go on this nail-biting ride as he takes filmmaking to a whole new direction with how he pulls this whole thing off. Only Nolan could make this kind of film with his signature style. It's exhilarating, mind-blowing, and visually stunning. There's no way to have that same visceral reaction if you try to watch it at home. I'm giving Tenet 4.5 out of 5 ticket stubs. If you like my review today, click subscribe on my YouTube channel. I got to interview John David Washington, so check out that interview. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Paul's Movie Trip. And then go to my website, paulstriptomovies.com, for even more reviews of other Christopher Nolan films. Thank you so much for watching my review of Tenet. This is Paul's Trip to the Movies.